Hey, again, this is Kebba Nanko. Today, my video is basically to respond to Yaya Jammeh nephew. He called him, he said Yaya Jammeh is his uncle, the new leader of NUP. We all know he's a very prominent lawyer in the Gambia, officially joined into politics. It was quite very interesting when he was speaking at a press conference, addressing his people and what he intend to do. But it was very quite disappointing, to say the least, and somebody that many young people look up to him to make certain kind of statement in terms of using the word PP did not do nothing. I think that was very disappointing. And then he said PPP intentionally refused to educate Gambians because they know what education can do, and that's a result. Deliberately, they refuse to educate Gambians so that they know those Gambians will not know what is happening in their country. That is quite disappointing to hear that from somebody that even me I admire because he's a very great lawyer. But again, politics is a different terrain, and sometimes when we are in platforms, we can be very excited and say things. But I think that word to be corrected, to say the least, so that Gambians can understand that it was not, it was absolutely false to say that the PP government intentionally refused to educate Gambians. But in fact, they did educate Gambians and build the foundation of education in the Gambia, which still exists in the Gambia up till today. For example, we can look at our foundation of the university that in fact he mentioned to say that his uncle did, Yaya Jammeh. And for me, all what I saw is a politician coming up trying to appease the Northern Alliance, in fact trying to see how best he can call the attention of Yaya Jammeh, because the way he spoke, I feel like Yaya Jammeh is speaking in those days saying that PP government don't do nothing. So what I saw here, what I want to put across to the Gambian people, these things are false. Absolutely false. There is no justification or there is no evidence they can put to you that PP government did not in any way do something when it comes to education. I will give you some of the things. The Gambia College that we have right now is being established by the PP government. The MDI, right? The money that we have is being established by the PP government. The GTI that we have is being established by the PP government. HRN, HEN that we have in Masa Congo is being established by the PP government, right? The Gambia Hotel School is being established by the PP government, right? And then if you go to Gambia College, the School of Education established by the PP government. The School of Agriculture, the PP government. The School of Nursing, PP government. The School of the Public Health, established by the PP government. So these things are the foundation of the Gambia University, and still the foundation of Gambia University. I mean, a person like lawyer Lamin Darboe ought to understand that there is no way a government can establish a university within 5 years. He should understand that. Yaya Jammeh never established a physical structure, a land. The only land he has is Faraba, which he was building, but the President Barrow was fortunate enough to be the one that is going to inaugurate that place. It's Faraba, where they intend to establish proper university, and where they have. So university is a faculty. He understood that very well. So I was very quite disappointed to say that if there was no foundation for education, how can Yaya Jammeh establish a university within 5 years? You know, so that was very quite disappointing coming from somebody like that, trying to attack people who are in fact the architect of our independence. And then they always talk about what PP government don't do nothing. That kind of statement is very, very, very troubling. And I expect people like him to measure some of the things he's saying as he's coming into politics. Because whatever you say, we have people here, we can also respond to it. So I will just ask him, apart from all the things I mentioned, let him tell me one higher education that Yahya Jammeh established, a land, a physical structure he established, apart from the things I mentioned. Let him tell me one that Yahya Jammeh do establish. That you call it's the Gambia University. If these structures are not in fact the foundation, all what Yahya Jammeh did was to establish legislatures. Because if you want to establish university, university governing council and all those things, he built the legislation around it, but he used the physical structure that the PPP has established. So this is why we ought to be careful. Make sure that sometimes when we speak in evidence, that this is what Yahya Jammeh have been staining Gambian people for quite a long time. And as a result, unfortunately, I don't expect people like him to believe it, but I expect people who does not understand at the time, would be the people that would not understand all these issues. But again, I put it to him to come and tell Gambians if there is any physical structure or any land apart from Fraba or any higher education Yahya Jammeh established apart from passing the legislature, which is the Gambia University. Apart from that, legislature around it, tell me apart from MDI, GTI, Gambia College, HEN in Masakonko, Gambia Hotel School, all these schools have been established by the PP to educate Gambians. He ought to understand that. We have National Agricultural Research Institute. NARI was established by PPP basically so people can have opportunity to research. ITC established by PPP. There are a lot of things I can say, but I could not in any way look at any other educational institution that Yahya Jammeh established apart from the legal framework to establish the university. I don't see it. And the only land I understand is Faraba. As government is a continuous process. Today is President Barrow that actually finished that project that Yahya Jammeh intended to do since he came in 1994. And the other thing he tried to mention, he said television. Television, Yahya Jammeh do SME television. Yes. But again, it's this man who is a lawyer is saying that television that Yahya Jammeh in fact brings to the Gambian people was used to educate Gambians about their governance. Well, was GRTS used as a propaganda machine to enter Yahya Jammeh, to misinform the Gambian people? Because any other person, we all know, Yahya Jammeh never won anything that is said against his government. That's why Ndera Haidara was a victim. That's why journalist Keith Mane was a victim, and many other journalists have run away because he doesn't want people to talk about his government. He wants everybody to portray his government as a good government. Anything that you say is against his interest of government. As a journalist, we all know how Gambia was a hell for Gambia was a hell for journalists. We all know. So for this guy to say, literally, President Yahya Jammeh, all what he was doing was in fact educating Gambians. In fact, he was trying to make Gambians aware, and all those not. When this guy was literally known as a dictator, suppressing information, suppressing Gambians, and doesn't want any dissenting views against his government. Use GRTS as a propaganda machine to misinform Gambian people that everything is going fine in the Gambia. You only understand, if you are in Gambia, you only ought to understand that some things are wrong in Gambia unless you travel outside. Many people understand government issues when they go to, may God have mercy on his soul, Panderimbai, Freedom newspaper. So you cannot come at a platform, you speak like that. So Sadawada and the PPP are known to promote human rights issues beyond Gambia and beyond West Africa. It went all the way to the whole of Africa and to the world. Multi-party democracy was promoted to the core. But PPP is not a perfect government. We all know that. There are a lot of ambitions we have as a government. We will not be able to establish all of them. But to open and to tell Gambian we don't do nothing and intentionally fail to educate Gambians. It's one of the most misleading statements. And I expect that from Yahya Jammeh and young people, but I don't expect that from Dr. Lamin Darboe, a prominent lawyer, to make the kind of statement. Very sad. And if this is where you intend to come into politics, and your politics is going to be all about trying to praise Yahya Jammeh and going after PPP, that's not a good starting point. It's not a good starting point. We are here, but again, I put the facts there. I mentioned things. And when if you have an opportunity again to say, yes, yeah, build a higher education institution apart from this institution, we are the foundation of Gambia University. Gambia University is a faculty of studies. We all understand that. It must be. We all understand that. It's not only about the physical structure. You must also have these structures there before you can actually have people to come and educate. You must have schools. You must have classrooms. Who build those classrooms? So government is a continuous process. No matter what we say, for anybody to open your mouth and say, people don't do nothing in this country, a prominent lawyer like you, is sad. Very, very troubling. And many people your video was sent to me several times, and many people felt disappointed, what you said, because they don't expect you to say such a statement like that without no facts. To say, GRTS and GRTS was in fact used to educate Gambians. No! It was a propaganda machine. Neda Hydra was literally writing things to educate Gambians on his newspaper. He was killed. Chief Mane, just doing his job to educate Gambians, he was killed. And many other journalists were tortured. They left the country just because of Yaya Jammeh, who don't want Gambians to know the truth about his government. And you are trying to tell us that government actually was responsible to create awareness in the Gambia. And then PPP government was suppressing information because they don't want us to be educated. And that's as a reason, basically trying to say that's why some of the development we are too slow. And that's not the truth. That's not the truth. It's quite very disheartening to hear. But again, this is politics for you. And then as you get into it, people are also observing. It was a long time you are talking about other people, but we are also observing you. So where you come to attack PPP and use the word, they don't do nothing absolutely in that country, is quite disturbing. And I hope that you have an opportunity to correct this kind of statement, because many people did watch it. And it's been sent everywhere. That's it bad. People caught and share it. I only hear that from Yaya Jammeh. I can accept that because he was trying to misinform. Yaya Jammeh went to an extent to say Gambia did have their independence in 1994. And he used GRTS for people to believe that. There's a particular program called Bantaba. People who are in that program, people like how do you call it? Sidin Jai was among the panelists. I used to watch those shows. In those days, I used to believe it. They said, yeah, they build the airport. And we all know that's not true. He just built the airport terminal. It was by 1970, before 1963, only military aircraft can land at Yundum. It's called Yundum Airport. When Jaro became prime minister in 1963, they began to do the renovation. At least to allow some aircraft to land. An airport is where actually a plane can land and can land and can park and can also take off. It's not only the terminal. The terminal is just like you have buses running and they have to be able to stop somewhere. That's what terminal is all about. Terminal is not airport, but it's also a necessity. At the airport, you can have terminals there. In other countries, they have terminal A, terminal B, terminal C. We see that, right? Because they are busy airports. In airport, you can also have hotels. In airport, you can have a police station. You can do anything in airport. But the airport itself is not terminal. Those also are misinformation. Before you go and mention that thing again, but I think it is quite disturbing to hear this thing to say to say that PPP government don't do anything, nothing. And literally implying that was deliberate, so that they don't want Gambians to be educated so they can stand against so they will not know what is happening, and then the PPP government can use that. It's quite disturbing. So anyway, that's why I came in to address this thing, because the video is going everywhere, and I say, okay, let me also say something just to correct it. And I believe that I put the facts to you. This is it. And if you know, Dr. Lamin Darboe, you can tell me, apart from the so-called university with a name that Yadame create, and then he bring the legislature around it to make sure that it is that we can have proper university based on law. Actually, You have to have a higher education bill, and we understand that. National Gambia University bill, there are bills he passed. I understand that. Apart from that, the physical structure, the classrooms, the MDI, the GTI, the Gambia College, and all these things, the SRN, the SEN, where they get the hotel school, where did he get those from? Who built those schools? Was it him? Where is the physical structure of Gambia University? Where is it? It's Faraba Bantam, which is still under construction. Only phase 1 or phase 2 was finished, right? So these things are so disturbing. So I just came here to put it there. But I think that was a very, very, that was very disturbing and very disappointing for that matter to hear that from people like Dr. Lamin Darboe. Anyway, this is just, again, this is Kebba Nanko. I just want to make sure that we put this information out there. If you have it, share it, so that you can also understand the response that we have for him. And I hope that people will learn from it. And I hope he can, if you think that he is right, let him also come and say, yes, Yadama did establish university, and this is the structures, right? Or these are the things he did that make it a university. And let him also tell me that the television he mentioned, that Yadama did all that, and that Yadama is his uncle, I find is good. I mean, maybe you're trying to appease the Northern Alliance. I hope you get lucky with that. But again, let me also whether that in fact that GRTS was used to educate Gambians. In fact, that's the case, right? If it's true that Yadama want Gambians to know what is happening, let him also tell me that why journalists have to run away from that country just to write what is happening in that country, just to write, and we all watch how they call it, TRRC. To imply that Yahya Jammeh was ready to educate Gambians about the governance issues so the Gambians can stand up to him. To imply that right now from Dr. Lamin Darboe. Equate that to PPP government that, in fact, was known to promote human rights issues to an extent that we have Africa Center of Human Rights established in the Gambia based on our human rights credentials. We have it in the Gambia. So just think about it. Just think about that. Can you believe that? So these are some things one can be very, very, excited on a platform. When people start clapping for you, you can go on and go on and go on. But that's not you just have to measure ourselves. I mean, yes, PPP is not a perfect government. You can say anything. Yes, there are a lot of things, that we believe we can do. Perhaps we cannot do it, but you have to tell us what are those things, bring evidence, and maybe there are explanations to them, right? But again, government is a continuous process. Yeah, they did something. President Barrow is also here. He's doing something. And I'm sure any other government will do something. Everybody do something from point A to point B. No government can do it alone. That's why we have democracy. Every 5 years, we go to election, we put our agenda to the Gambian people. They decide who to vote for based on the issues we are discussing, based on the issue that was put forward in front of the voters. They decide based on that. But it doesn't have to be personal attack and then false information, which has no evidence. So this is why I was disturbed by it. So thank God, this is me again, Kebba Nanko, and I will stop this here, and I hope that this message is helpful to many Gambians who has watched that video. Thank you so much.